Hey guys, right now I'm going to talk about the structure of the ear. And the ear is another type of organ that responds to sensation. And the sensation that this responds to is mechanical movement. And it's the mechanical movement of sound waves, okay? So sound waves actually, so imagine this is a sound wave. It actually triggers this mechanoreceptor. It's a hair cell in your inner ear, and this is called a mechanoreceptor. And when it triggers that hair cell, the mechanoreceptor, that hair cell moves, and that impulse is sent to the temporal lobe of your brain, where you guys interpret sound. Okay, so the ear is able to take sound waves, and that sound waves moves these hair cells. When the hair cell moves, you get an action potential generated, and that action potential is a nerve impulse that goes to the temporal lobe of your brain, and then you guys interpret different sounds, right? And so you have to know the structure of the ear. So imagine like your ear is kind of shaped like a funnel, right? And what you're doing is you're trying to get all the sound waves, like, so imagine this is all the sound waves coming in to you, like right now you're listening to me, and you're taking all of this, and you want it to go inside that like hole in your ear, right? And so the outer flap of your ear is called the pinnae, and what you're doing is you're directing all the sound into this. This is called your auditory canal. Right? So this is where you want the sound waves to go, right? So your ear is shaped like a funnel. All those sound waves are now traveling into your ear, into your auditory canal, and then it hits this structure here, and that's your eardrum, and that is also called your tympanic membrane. Okay? Now, if you take a look at your eardrum, like your tympanic membrane, so this part that I just drew is called the outer ear, right? That's the outer part of the ear. And there's 3 bones that are attached to each other. So they're like really small bones, and the bones are called the ossicles. And these ossicles, right, when the sound wave hits the eardrum, so here's a sound wave hitting the eardrum, that eardrum vibrates. Okay, and that's like when it vibrates, it's called mechanical movement. And when that eardrum vibrates, the ossicles vibrate as well. So when the sound waves hits the eardrum vibrates, the ossicle vibrates, and the ossicles are connected to a structure. Okay, the ossicles are connected to a structure, and that structure that it's connected to is called the cochlea. Okay, so it kind of looks like a snail. Here it is. Here's the cochlea, and there's like, right? So this part here, this part here is called the cochlea, and the cochlea is a really important structure, and these here are called semicircular canals, and there's 3 semicircular canals. Okay, now the semicircular canals have hair cells, so imagine these are hair cells in the semicircular canal, and the cochlea also has hair cells, and the hair cells in the cochlea right here are found in the organ of Corti, okay? And this hair cell in the organ of Corti is what's responsible for sound, okay? So imagine this is a nerve, and the sound is traveling through the nerve to your temporal lobe of your brain. Okay, so basically all you need to know is how the sound wave hits the eardrum here, and then it hits the ossicles here. And when the ossicles vibrate, they push against a flexible window here. There's a flexible membrane, and that flexible membrane is called the round window. And in this cochlea, there's like all this like fluid. So there's all this lymph fluid. So there's fluid in the cochlea. And when the ossicles vibrate and they push against that round window here, the fluid inside the cochlea moves, and it moves these hair cells. And when the hair cells move, you generate an action potential that travels through these nerves to the temporal lobe of your brain. And so that's how you basically hear sound, right? And it's important to know that the organ of Corti is found inside the cochlea. The reason why there's a semicircular canal here and there's hair cells in the semicircular canal, these hair cells in the semicircular canal detect like movement, like like dizziness. So let's say you like turn around and around and around and around and around and you get super dizzy. It's because the hair cells in the semicircular canals are moving when you're spinning around and around and around, and they're causing the sensation of dizziness. And these hair cells actually send the impulse to the cerebellum part of your brain, which is responsible for balance, okay? So really important to note that the cochlea, the hair cells in the cochlea are found in this organ of Corti, and the hair cells, they are responding to movement of the sound waves, right? So just like make sure everybody understands, sound waves come in, sound waves hit the eardrum, sound waves cause the ossicles to vibrate, sound waves cause the round window to push in, that causes the fluid in the cochlea to move, that causes the hair cells in this organ of a Corti to vibrate. The hair cells that vibrate in the organ of Corti are responsible for generating an action potential, and then your brain interprets that as sound, right? Whereas if the hair cells in the semicircular canal are activated, they don't have anything to do with sound. They only have to do with like movement, like spinning too fast. Like then it goes to the cerebellum. So your ear is actually, and this here is the inner ear. So the ear, this is actually, the ear is responsible for not just sound, but it's responsible for feeling balance. So if you ever felt vertigo or dizzy, it's because there's an inner ear problem. Okay, one last thing, there's actually a tube here called the Eustachian Tube. This Eustachian Tube is used to equalize pressure, and this Eustachian Tube is connected to your nose. And so basically, like when you're on a plane and you feel your ears plug, you try to yawn to pop your ears because the air rushes from your nose to your Eustachian tube to try to detect pressure. So basically there's three functions of the ear. It's hearing, it's to movement, and the third one is to detect changes in pressure, right? Like, so if you have pressure, right? If there's if there's pressure, it's not like detecting pressure, but it's like making sure you guys are able to equalize the pressure. So if the pressure increases, you yawn to try to equalize the pressure. And that's basically all the parts of the ear that you need to know. And that's all, you guys, I'm going to teach you about the ear. I just want you to know that, like, if you were in the regular classroom, I probably would have gone into more detail on the eye and the ear. But this, because we're modifying it, like, this is about as much detail as we require you to know for this course for this year.